Let me begin. This is 𝗬𝗎𝗓. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down. Get up, let me begin. This is 𝗬𝗎𝗓. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down.
Shout out Young Swish.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Sitdown Morning Show with 𝗦𝗡𝗙𝗏, presented by the Right Way Sports Network. I'm your host, 𝗦𝗡𝗏. Join my co-hosts as always, Danielle Almeida and Tim Andrews. Got a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of stuff to talk about. But before we do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys never miss when we go live, when we upload content. It's been a while since I've been live. Want to thank Daniel, Logan, Tim for all holding down the fort while attending to some personal matters. Greatly appreciate y'all for still tuning in, supporting the show. And, I really do appreciate y'all making us a part of your regular routine on Mondays, on Thursdays, and Fridays. And more importantly, on Wednesdays, 7 p.m., State of the Jungle. Daniel, man, you did a great job, brother.
Appreciate it.
Like, fantastic job. We've been working together for a very long time. I was blown away by how awesome you were able to carry the show and, keep things moving in the right direction. So I couldn't pick a better tag team partner. So I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it. Much love, man.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to get into. And I apologize for the late start, guys. I just wanted to make sure that I had myself together for the show and for you guys. So with that being said, Daniel, where should we start, man? Where should we start?
I don't know if you want to start with the main topic or you get a couple things.
Start with the fucking Bengals. Let's get this shit over with.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I think we'll start with the Bengals then. Let's start with the Cincinnati.
Bro,
Bengals.
like what? Bro, look, I ain't got time today. All right.
Tell us why you don't have time, Tim.
Because the Bengals had all the time in the world yesterday. The Bengals won time of possession. 25 first downs to the Buffalo Bills, 21 first downs. Buffalo had 29 for 183 on the ground. That hurt. We couldn't cover tight ends to save our lives before yesterday, and it's still the same, scenario today. Dalton Kincaid, 93 yards. Dawson Knox, 43. But the real problem I got, I said this in a show earlier in the year. When the Bengals have third and forever, the other team really says never say never. I'm not going to lie to you. 3rd and 15 running man with no QB spy. I think you sick in the head. Al, I've loved your game plan. We got 3 sacks on him yesterday. Look, there's certain things you're going to deal with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's just going to do Josh Allen things. And I've said that. Long as we don't let him be Superman, we will be fine. He had Superman plays yesterday. The 40-yard touchdown run after the rush lane opened up because of a bad pursuit angle. I think that was on Cedric Johnson. There's nobody there. It's a rushing quarterback. A big-ass one at that. You have to have somebody there to try to at least slow him down. You can't stop him, but you can slow him down. Josh took advantage of that yesterday, and it was in critical moments. But it's not all on the defense yesterday. Yes, there was bad coaching decisions made. Yes, there was questionable calls that were possibly made on the defense as well. I think that could go both ways. But the real problem is you started off I'm gonna work on cussing today. You started off the game with a 14-play drive that lasted 8 minutes, if I'm correct. 7 runs, 7 passes. That's the balance that we were talking about, last show, was the ability to run the ball. And if you can make Josh Allen play quarterback, those are the 2 things. And what did you do? You won time of possession for the game. Those 2 turnovers by Joe. Look, I love Joe. I do. And I'm never going to completely put it on Joe, but when you fuck up, you fuck up. And as a quarterback, you have to own that. The 2 interceptions in a matter of 16 seconds, insane. I know him changing the play at the line of scrimmage to a pass to try to get it to Ja'Marr out in the flat. That's cool. Interception. The pick six is what really hurt. The interceptions don't hurt. It's the pick six. And then after that, this game is about momentum. And I think that's where shit really hit the fan. Again, the defense yesterday was able to have opportunities at Josh. You just didn't capitalize on all of them. I love the 3 sacks, but the ones that needed to turn into sacks at the biggest moments didn't fucking happen. So there's an issue right there for that. Then I kind of all over the place, but go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah, I think for me, listen, there's a lot we can discuss. There's a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. This is a game where, and Joe Burrow's put it best in recent times, even last year, you kind of got to be perfect against great teams, and they weren't perfect. And more specifically, in my opinion, Joe Burrow wasn't perfect. That's where I fall in this. I think that you had moments in this game that were fantastic. The opening drive was fantastic. Mike Gesicki in the middle against cover 2 was fantastic. T. Higgins on the right side when you're down, one-handed grab was fantastic. These guys were making big-time plays in big-time moments. It really comes down to those 2 interceptions for me. And I understand, listen, the defense didn't hold up. They didn't hold up their end of the bargain at the end of the game, right? You had Josh Allen, and I agree with some what you were saying. In my opinion, you got to have a quarterback spy on him. I think that's where they went wrong. It's okay to rush forward, and it's okay to try to overshoot, if you're trying to get to the quarterback, but you've got to have somebody that accounts for the quarterback. And Geno Stone was back in coverage and was a little bit, not ready to go attack. You've got to have somebody quarterback spy on 3rd and 17, knowing that's his biggest weapon. That's where I fall with the defense. But this comes down to Joe Burrow and those interceptions. That's what turned this game on its head. If Joe Burrow didn't throw that one mistake, and listen, we did the same exact thing. Joe Flacco against New England Patriots. What did we do? What did the fan base do? They said, that is the reason why you lost the game. Joe Flacco, terrible pass. I think the same thing can be said right here because you were in this game. And then that play turned the game on its head. And I think that even the second interception, maybe it wasn't fully on Joe Burrow, but we've seen time and time again against the Pittsburgh Steelers with Cam Hayward, batting down passes become tipped interceptions. That's a great play by the defense, but the unforced errors is where you lose games. And that interception by Joe Burrow is a turning point because it's the same thing that can be said. I've sat up here on the show and I said, Zach Taylor on 4th down, why are you running? Zach Taylor on 4th down, why are you doing this? Al Golden, why are you blitzing? Why are you not blitzing on 4th down? Those decisions that are game-changing moments is what I've held on to. And I've said, hey, that is why the Bengals lost this game. The same thing against the Chicago Bears, against the New York Jets. There were multiple moments where Zach Taylor had a mistake that cost the Bengals points, and I held on to that point. And I think Bengals fans held on to that point. And I think it's fair to look at this game and say Al Golden's defense, they performed well at the beginning of the game. You can't give up 21 points in the second half. I understand that. But 7 of those were because of Joe Burrow. And that's the truth.
You asked for a couple more possessions out of the Bengals defense. That's what you're asking for. Not for them to be a top 10 unit, but for them just to be, helpful. Give us the ball with a couple extra chances. What I will say is in the second half, and most of these yards came in the second half, 416 total yards for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen was 22 of 28 for 251. And I'm not going to lie, the first pass touchdown, that's just some Josh Allen shit that happened to us. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's just Josh Allen being him. But my problem that came most was if there was any game this year for the rushing attack to step the hell up, shout out to Samaje doing what he was able to do yesterday. Chase Brown was non-existent. I'm going to be completely honest. And that hurt in the long run. There wasn't anything to be able to, muster up inside of the screen game. That was really non-existent as well. Shouts out to T as well yesterday. He showed yesterday why you paid him $100 million. He played through I'm going to call it.
Yep.
He played through a concussion yesterday. He banged the fuck out of his head at least 4 times yesterday, rung his bell, and still was able to sit here and produce in all phases of the game. He was blocking. He caught passes. He sat here. He ran rub routes perfectly without getting anything called on him. I thought it was a great game by T yesterday. You would have liked to have seen Jamar pop out a little bit more, but it's that time of the year where people are going to start game planning for him aggressively. But Joe yesterday, I mean, look, it comes down. This game is about opportunities. And when you give, especially another guy on the other side and Josh Allen as many opportunities as you, or give him extra, you're going to cash in. And you already have a defense that is questionable. Did they do a lot yesterday? Yeah. I applaud the defense yesterday, but the second half is where you can't give up 2 extra possessions. And then Josh drives the field in a minute flat, damn near on the 40-yard touchdown. They drove and they did that in 4 plays, and that took up 68 yards. Yesterday was about opportunities and whoever had the ball last, and that's it comes down to it. I still want Al Golden check the fuck in for that. Yesterday, that's inexcusable. It doesn't make sense to me why in that position you don't have somebody on the best player on the field. Essentially, it's not making sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think just looking at it too, like I said, this is a game where we can nitpick, and they lost this game. And in my opinion, listen, and this may sound a little bit corny, but I think the Bengals lost the game. I don't think the Buffalo Bills really went and took it out of the Bengals' hands. This was a game where you gave it away, and this it leads me to the conversation of these are games in the NFL where you are not going to win every close game against every great team, but you had no leeway heading into this game. And that's where this entire season, it sucks to say, because in seasons past, how many games you get against a playoff caliber team? When you look at every other team that's making the playoffs, you can look at the Seattle Seahawks and say 7 of their 8 wins or whatever are against bad teams. And we'd like to say, well, that team, they're not real. Well, they're winning games. But when they go up against a great team, they lose. But then the next couple weeks that they play bad teams, they win those games. And that's what the Cincinnati Bengals did not do this season. They did not beat the bad teams. And if you would have done that, I think this conversation would be different, because this would not be do or die.
You would have room for error.
But this was the final nail in the coffin. In my opinion, sure, realistically, you are not out. Statistically, you are still in the playoff race. But now you are going to need a lot of help.
You need so much help at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not one to ever give up on anything, and I don't want this to be like beat up Joe Burrow day, because my glorious Joe Burrow can never do anything wrong. But what I will say is, yesterday he showed that he's human. The 284 yards for 4 touchdowns, 25 of 36 passing. That's an impressive ass game. It is. And I don't want it to be overshadowed. But at the end of the day, the ideal is to win the game. And it didn't happen. This also goes back to Zach Taylor as well. You, once again, did not ride the hot hand. And I'm talking about as far as finding consistency in the run game. Samaje Perine was a man amongst boys. He was asserting himself and putting himself above all else when it came to getting a yard. Yesterday, he was stout, and Zach Taylor saw that shit and said, "Keep putting the ball in the air," or you know what, Chase Brown screen. I'm not understanding that. If you have a hot hand, ride it. Run the ball. If I'm correct, Samaje had 61 yards yesterday.
Samaje was very good yesterday.
Yeah, 61 yards. And you turn around and I say we just start over. Yeah. I don't want to ever give up on shit, but I'm not trying to be negative, but we need a lot of help. If I'm correct, the schedule is we need the Steelers to lose 3.
Samaje only had 31 yards.
He had 31?
31, yeah.
Okay, so was it 61 total for
No.
the team? What?
He had 7 yards receiving and 31 yards rushing.
Okay. Doesn't fucking matter. I think the season is over with.
Yeah,
Call it.
And one last thing, just to give a little context too, when people look at this game, they can look at the score and say it's crazy. I think that even Joe Burrow put it best. In these type of games, the offense will always have the upper hand, always. And that's where when I look at the defense, and there is criticisms to be had about specific players, but I'm not going to look at this defense and say they regressed after the past couple games. I think that they are actually on an upward trajectory. And when you look at the game, it makes sense. Defense, they're sliding around. You don't know where the offense is going, especially when you look at these conditions. Unless if you were out there with the cleats, with the icy field, we don't understand. That's where I will give the defense grace looking at this game, because I think that they're actually playing a hell of a lot better, especially with the talent that they got out there. So that's the one thing I wanted to say, because I think as we enter the rest of the season, I think the defense is going to continue to surprise, and I don't put this loss on the defense, in my opinion. But
you found your number one corner though.
he's balling.
DJ played excellent yesterday in those conditions, and it's I know it's not saying a lot going against the Bills wide receiving core, but he's done this really all year. So at the end of the day, there's really some bright spots you can look at from this game. I think Barrett Carter's coming around. I think Cedric Johnson deserves some more time, some more tick. But just yesterday was just, honestly, I think it just comes down to opportunities with the ball in your hands. I think us taking the ball at the very beginning of the game was aggressive, and I think you needed to be aggressive yesterday. But there was just you can't lose the turnover battle against Josh Allen and expect to win. So I'm a little depressed. Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be a record. Probably 20 minutes on the show. I haven't said a word yet. That's pretty impressive. So I want to push back on a couple of things really quickly. You know, I don't think you meant to say this per se, Daniel, but you said Bengals didn't beat the bad teams. One can argue, hindsight is 2020. They haven't faced a whole lot of bad teams this year, right? The Patriots they faced earlier this year, who were bad last year. They're what, 11-2.
Yeah.
The Bears were just leading the NFC, right, with as the 1 seed. So
yeah.
But what I will say is the Jets, right? The Jets were a team that they should have won. But I just want to say, like I said this before. I said, you know, if the Bengals wind up missing the playoffs, which it looks like that is the reality, we're going to look back at 3 games. Okay, we're going to look back at the Jets game, we're going to look at the Patriots game, look at the Bears game. Why are we going to look back at those games? Even though we were out without Joe Burrow, they were all still 1-score games, and there were games that you had the ability. You were very, very close to winning that game. Those are the 3 games that we are focusing on, right? Earlier this season, they had a little bit of a cushion when Joe Burrow went out by beating the Jaguars, beating the Cleveland Browns. But now, as you get towards the end of the schedule, now you're truly going to start facing the quote-unquote bad teams. You split with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have the Ravens coming up on deck again after you have already beaten them. And you got to imagine that's going to be a fired-up Ravens team, especially with them playing for everything that's in front of them. So I want to push back on that because I think that they did handle business. But, you know, I'll say this. Everybody is deserving of criticism to some degree. Doesn't matter if your name is Joe Burrow. Doesn't matter if your name is Al Golden. Doesn't matter if your name is Zach Taylor. This might shock a lot of people. I don't look at yesterday's game and I don't say, hey, that's a Zach Taylor loss. There are some folks that say, hey, you know what? Why did Zach Taylor challenge? I saw that a lot. Well, that challenge resulted in a touchdown, an overturned touchdown. I think that consistently, and I think this is the most baffling thing when it comes to Zach Taylor's led Bengals. I think consistency is the word that we lack, right? And I think that's with most folks in life. You know, consistency is what gets people over the top. Denzel Washington said it best. You know, everyone can start, but not everybody can finish. And I think when we look at this, when we look at how the Bengals season has panned out, right, the 2-0 start to losing multiple games, until you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night. Then you lose multiple games. And now you're faced with this. Listen, the Bengals are sitting at 4-9, right? And one thing that I always preach on this show for years, if you guys have been watching for State of the Jungle, is situational coaching, right? Situational coaching to me goes down to, why are you playing man-to-man on 3rd and 15 with no quarterback spy? That's an Al Golden blurb. That's an Al Golden hiccup. I'm the same guy that set up on the show and defended Lou so many times through hiccups, through mess ups. So, you know, I also gave criticism when it was necessary. I'm giving criticism here. I think that even though he made that mistake and it was egregious, trust me, it was egregious. It was a backbreaker for this team. I do agree with Daniel. I do think the defense is trending upwards. I don't think the conditions, because when you think about Joe Burrow's interceptions yesterday, I could see Joe Burrow just making errant throws, right? But those weren't that. Those were, hey, the ball slipped out because you had a hard time gripping the laces. You know, cornerback intercepts the ball. I could look at, hey, Joe Burrow goes to throw a pass slant to Ja'Marr Chase or whatever that route was exactly, and it gets batted up in the air, AJ Epineza. To me, these are things that happen. This is what happens when you face another fellow juggernaut of a team in the Buffalo Bills. All respect to the Buffalo Bills. I thought the Bengals were winning that game. I thought that they were winning that game going away until they weren't. A lot went the Buffalo Bills' way. Now they were Bengal errors, but I don't know if I could look at it and say, you know what, Joe made a bad throw. It's just like one of those things that's going to be like, damn, it's football. If you played any sport, sometimes there are hiccups. And if you play in those type of conditions, there are hiccups. I know that's a little bit of a different tone than what you guys have heard me say before. It's unfortunate that it happened. It's unfortunate that batted balls that can get caught and be intercepted are a part of the game. Those things are annoying. However, I still walk away from that game feeling, hey, if Joe Burrow was healthy for all blah, blah, blah amount of games, maybe the Bengals have a better fighting chance, right? Maybe the Bengals have a better fighting chance down the stretch here. I walk away from this game, man. You know, I know that the notion probably take away from this game is Josh Allen beat Joe Burrow. And I'm sure there are a lot of folks that are really celebrating that. You know, it was the first time in his career. But Joe Burrow played lights out minus the 2 hiccups. Yeah. Right? 25 of 36, 4 touchdowns. Right, 284 yards passing. T. Higgins, to what Tim said, T. Higgins played through a lot. You could tell he was playing through a lot. The bracket coverage that Ja'Marr Chase was dealing with throughout the game, even in a snow game, teams were still trying to take him away. Right, the Bengals. I got it right here. They were 3 for 3 on first downs. If I had that correctly, they were 3 for 3 on. 3 for 3 on in red zone possessions. They were 10 of 12 on third downs. But you know what the story of the game for me is? The Buffalo Bills were 3 of 4 on fourth downs to me, because that's them putting their nuts on the table, saying we've got to go out and win a game even when things aren't going our way. So there's a lot of things that happen, right? You can't walk away from that game and saying the Bengals didn't show up. They did. They did. It's just unfortunately what happens.
They played their hearts out.
Yeah. And now what I want to talk about now, right? Because I even think the Bengals led in sacks, right? I think the Bengals had more sacks than the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, they had 3-1.
Yeah, so like and they had obviously the turnover, which could have been 2 turnovers, but one of those was obviously out of bounds, the fumble of James Cook. But James Cook, you know, ball doesn't lie. He fumbled going into the end zone again. Listen, I walk away from this game in particular feeling this is the story of the Bengals season. Good, but not good enough. Close, but not close enough. That's where I walk away from this game thinking. That's what goes through my head. And so, like anything in life, you wonder what's next. Well, the Bengals are sitting at 4-9, guys, with a very motivated, extremely motivated Ravens team coming to town. And, you know, I think while they still have a shot at playoffs, and people that don't know what the path to playoffs is, let me explain it for you. The Bengals' path to victory is the Bengals win out. They would need the Ravens, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, to lose two of the next 4. Right? Yes. They would need the Pittsburgh Steelers to lose 3 of the next 4. Now, the good thing about the Bengals with that is they still have to face the Ravens, so they can contribute to one of those losses.
And then the Ravens play the Patriots and the Packers.
Yep. They face the Ravens face the Patriots and Packers. Or
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So
The
who did the
Ravens,
Steelers? So
yeah.
the Steelers face the Lions.
Yep.
Yes.
Steelers face the Lions, the Dolphins,
The
Browns.
Browns. Yeah.
and someone else.
The Ravens again.
Ravens again.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
depending
so
on where that game is for the Browns and
Yeah.
the Dolphins.
So-
yeah.
that's their pathway to victory. I think that's a lot to ask for teams to lose multiple times. And that's the thing about controlling your own destiny and then not controlling your own destiny. If you don't control your own destiny, it looks a lot like this, where you're wishing, you're hoping on a prayer, and then you're getting Netflix videos of Joe Burrow sitting in his house upset because you're relying on someone else. So again, I want to just say something as well, because I've been off the show for a week. I don't want people to think, somebody said that this channel has turned into a Fire Zach Taylor channel, and I sit with my thoughts a lot and I go over them in my head. I don't think so. I don't think that that's that. This is a channel in which I call it how it is. The guys are allowed to call it, how it is. I do not coerce their opinions. I do not tell them what to say. I do not tell them what to think. Everyone genuinely, from this crew to the State of the Jungle crew, all come into the show with their own opinions, and none of it is manufactured. None of it is manufactured. I am not a Zach Taylor apologist. I am not a Zach Taylor hater. If the Bengals were to go out and do great stuff, I would never call for anyone's job. And I'm not even going to do that on today's show. I just want to get a couple of things cleared up. If you do not like this content on the show, because I've gotten some of those, and you prefer a 𝗕𝗓𝗏𝗻's content, or you prefer Joe Goodberry's content, you prefer anyone else's content, that is completely okay with me. I always tell people, caution people, when I moved to Cincinnati, my goal was to always bring a different style, and that's an open and honest style. And that might put me in hot water with people. That might make people think that, hey, I don't support this team, but that couldn't be further from the truth. All I ever want for the Cincinnati Bengals is a winning team, right? And your content style is your content style. I am a person in my life where I always try to find solutions, right? I don't look to avoid the problems. I don't get paid by the Bengals. I do not get told what I could say and what I can't say. And maybe that's something you're a fan of. Maybe not. And to be honest with you guys, that's why that's why I choose not to have a whole lot of partnerships and stuff like that. Because when I get on this show and I'm a mouthpiece, the only person I want to be a mouthpiece for is for my company and for a team and for my thoughts. That's genuinely where I stand. I don't think yesterday's loss was on Zach Taylor. However, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is the Bengals are sitting at 4 now.
Yeah.
There's also another thing that I want to get at. I'm a very competitive person, right? I think y'all know that about me, right, Tim? Right, Daniel?
Mhm.
Right, Marissa?
Yeah.
I think y'all know that about me. I had a certain user who we had on the show when we did our fan request and people stated their opinions. Call me out my name. Call me out my name. Then call one of my co-hosts out their name. And Coach BT, I just want to be very, very clear with you, brother. I had a death in my family last week, so I didn't get a chance to respond to you. I know we've debated before, brother. Anytime, anywhere, any place. All right. No one's afraid of you. No one's running from your thoughts or how you feel. You clearly stand differently than where I stand on things. And I'd be glad to make it a special. And me and you can go toe to toe in front of the world, in front of everybody to see on the show. We could pre-record it. We could do it live. But one thing I'm going to ask you to do is not to attack my people, right? Unless you're willing to come on this show and debate your stance or debate your opinion. So I just want to say this and foremost. I saw your comments. I saw your tweets. Anytime, brother. You know how to get in touch with me. I'm nothing but a DM away, right? Or you could do what you've been doing and yapping. So that being said, there's a lot of stuff that I'm excited about to get into, to talk about. The Bengals to me are still playing exciting football, right? The Bengals are still exciting to watch play football. And, when Joe Burrow was talking about why he wanted to come back, and he talked about how he was fighting for so much, and how it meant a lot for him to go out there and still prove that he could do it at an elite level. To me, I think that's what it's all about. I think that's what it's all about, right? I think that's what it's all about. Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, wants to prove that, hey, I can still play at a high level. I'm still all in on this team. He knew playoffs were an uphill climb.
Yeah.
Right. Even though it's not mathematically impossible. Well, a lot of things would have had to break the Bengals' way. And one of those things were the Bengals to win out. So I'm really torn on what to think, to be honest with you guys. I definitely think that something needs to happen, whether it's Duke Tobin answering for this, but then it's like, what are we? The Bengals are at a crossroads. That's just the best way I could put it. The Bengals are sitting at a crossroads when this season ends, and the question is, do y'all think the Bengals are going to win out? Do you think the Bengals are facing a 10-loss season? And that'd be the first time in a while that the Bengals have a 10-loss season, right? I think that's dating all the way back to 2019, something like that. And since that's happened. To me, it just puts you in a spot in which you've got to evaluate everything. To like Daniel has said on the show, you have to evaluate everything. But Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can see it going both ways. I think that this is a team where I can undoubtedly see them just going out on a tear and winning the next 4 games. I mean, we saw that in the game before against the Ravens, and we saw it to open up this game against the Buffalo Bills. I don't think anybody should be shocked if this Bengals team goes out there and beats a Ravens team at home who they've played great against. And I think that there's a real possibility they go out and drop 35 on the Ravens. And after that game, you'd look at the schedule and say, get the Browns, Dolphins, and Cardinals. Who's to say you don't go drop 35 on the Browns and drop 35 on the Dolphins and beat the Browns and then beat the Cardinals? So I think that there's a real possibility that they do win out. But I can also see them going out and losing to the Ravens at home. So if I had to put my money where my mouth is, I think that they probably win out and go, what would that be, 7-9 or 8-9? And I think that's a realistic possibility. But I also think that those final 3 teams on the schedule, while the Browns could play them close, and the Browns are a divisional opponent, I think that there's a chance the Bengals just go out and dog walk, and go on a run and finish off the season on a hot streak. And that's what sucks about this, because you said it best. This is a fun product they're putting out on the field. We are watching guys, Mike Gesicki making one-handed grabs, Mike Gesicki mossing defenders, T. Higgins playing dominant, and you're watching a fun product. And I just hate the fact that we're going to be watching down the stretch, and I think that there's a chance that they win the Ravens game, and we're going to be watching with no real playoff hopes. So if I had to guess, I think that they go 3-1.
Can I ask everybody in the comment section? And my guy Zem, appreciate you, brother. It's been a while since I've seen you. If you guys can do me a favor in the comment section, let me know what you want the Bengals to do. I want to get a temperature check, right? We've got over 120 people in the chat right now, and that's not including Twitter. Let me know right now what you want the Bengals to do. I'm really conflicted on where everyone stands with this, because I know there are some that are like, keep them for another year. But then for me, I just think if you're not going to give someone, if you're not approaching something with good faith, like I say with the Trey Anderson extensions, the talks, and all that stuff, then what are we doing here, right? If the goal is always for Zach Taylor to go all the way, because like to me, I don't want to just cut a coach to make the playoffs. I want you to go all the way, and you have to look at the team inwardly and be like, hey, do you still believe in this coach? Do the players still believe in this coach? Are the players still fighting for it? Where do you want this? What do you want the Bengals to do? Do you want the Bengals to move on from Duke Tobin, which I'm sure that's where everyone stands? Do you want the Bengals to move on from Zach? Do you want the Bengals to, I don't know, do you want them to go out there and trade for a superstar? Let me know, everybody in the comment section, what you want the Bengals to do. Again, I'm throwing that out there. I don't want anyone saying I'm forcing the group chat to say do certain stuff. Let me know in the comment section what you guys want the Cincinnati Bengals to do. And as the show goes on, we'll continue. I'm gonna be going back and forth to Bengal stuff, as things. Some people say clean house. Somebody said fire Duke and Zach. Somebody said I just want the defense fixed, however that happens. Brian Flores, I'm kidding, but I'll make sure that we teeter back and forth. I want to get to another topic really quick. I want to talk about Shedeur Sanders. We'll go from one team in Ohio to another team in Ohio. You know, Daniel's favorite player. You know, the topic is, did Shedeur Sanders deserve that he proved to be drafted early? I'll start this one off really quickly. Yes, I think he deserved to be drafted early. I don't know why he wasn't drafted early. It could be because he's a stuck in the mud quarterback and he refuses to move his feet, or he has 20 step dropbacks. I have no idea. Now, if you're asking me the question of, did Shedeur Sanders prove that he deserves to be the starter? I'm not there. I'm not there. He's started what now? 3 games, Daniel?
This is his third.
This was his third game. He's now been sacked 8 times. He's been sacked 8 times, posted a 769 yards, albeit a lot of it was in yesterday's game. 5 total touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. All those stuff is going to happen, especially when you're going through the maturation process with the quarterback. Therefore, I still stand on this. I think Shedeur Sanders has proved he deserves to be the starting quarterback over every other quarterback currently on the Cleveland Browns, not named Deshaun Watson, who we haven't seen this year. I don't know if that. So let me answer this better. I think he deserved to be the starter the remainder of the season.
Right.
I don't think he deserves to be the starter going into next year without a true quarterback competition. That means the Cleveland Browns would have to bring in another quarterback, which is what the Cleveland Browns have done at this point. It's like Christmas in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns bring in a quarterback each and every single year, right? Or multiple at that point. So for me, I'm weird on the Shedeur Sanders conversation. There are folks who hate him, right? And then there are folks who absolutely love him and they just overrate his performance. There are folks who nitpick at every bad thing he's done. I'm not one of those. I'm just a realist at this point. I just think that I'm not talking about skin color. I'm not talking about Kevin Stefanski not liking him. I'm just judging the man at the quarterback spot. Simple as that. Everybody has their alternative agendas. I don't have one. I'm judging him as a quarterback, and that is it. I don't care who your dad is. I don't care if the fan base likes you because you throw up a wrist. I don't care if people go crazy for it. I don't care how much ass you put in seats. I'm talking about the performer at the quarterback spot. I think Shedeur has done enough to show you that he deserves to be the quarterback the remainder of the season. That being said, I'm not sold just yet. I mean, I can be sold potentially, right? If the maturation is truly real and you start to see the things you want to see towards the end of the season. I'm not sold yet that the Cleveland Browns have their guy going away next year. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think when I look at Shedeur, it depends on what lens you're looking at. I think
why not the quarterback? Why not the quarterback?
Because I think there's a lot more that goes into it. Because if I'm the ownership, and that's where you can talk about being a straight up quarterback, and it's clear. First off, Kevin Stefanski, right, clearly liked Dillon Gabriel more than he liked Shedeur Sanders.
Sure.
But I think there's a lot more that goes into the face of your franchise.
Daniel, you still have to play the quarterback position, right?
But there's a lot more.
Like what?
It is being the face of your franchise. It is the dollar sign. The NFL.
So Johnny Manziel would have been the face of their franchise, right? Johnny Manziel, right? So that's my point.
No,
right? We don't know what Shedeur is just yet.
but Johnny Manziel also.
Tim Tebow was the face of the Denver Broncos.
Of course,
right?
Of course. But what I was saying was, I think that there's a lot more that goes into it. It's not just the quarterback play. And I think as far as what he's shown through 3 games, he has shown, and this Cleveland Browns team has shown me 2 things. Number 1, he's deserved a chance to start the rest of the season.
Yes.
And number 2, that this Cleveland Browns team needs a whole lot of help. And that's where the conversation goes for me, because when we talk about a replacement or somebody else that we want to bring in, I think there's only 2 clear options right now for if I'm the ownership and if I'm the GM and I'm looking at my quarterback position, I'm looking at 3 options. Number 1, Shedeur Sanders goes in next year as your starting quarterback. Number 2, you get a top 3 pick and you take Fernando Mendoza. Or number 3, you find a way that Deshaun Watson has become healthy. You find a way that Deshaun Watson is playing better, and you have Deshaun and Shedeur in a quarterback battle. That's where I fall with these 3 things. I agree with you. Shedeur has not shown me enough on the field to say he is no matter what the future face of the franchise, but he's shown me enough to say that there's promise there. And that's where I think I'm hanging my hat on. Yes, it was against the Raiders. Yes, it was against the Titans. But he's shown me enough to say, hey, there is potential with this guy to where he could be the face of their franchise for the next 5 to 10 years. And I think
what has he shown you to make you say that? Because I think the one thing that we agree on is that he's shown enough that he just starts the rest of the year. But what do you mean started like be your face of your franchise for the next 5 years? We both agreed that he hasn't shown that just yet. So my thought process is, and again, I want you to know where my mentality comes from. My mentality comes from this: the Cleveland Browns, outside of Deshaun Watson, have not started a quarterback, and Baker Mayfield really have not started a quarterback in back-to-back years since. However, they've always changed quarterbacks out, whether it be due to injury, whether it be teams falling out of favor, whether it be them being quick to move on from a guy, right? To me, the Cleveland Browns have never embodied, hey, we're all in on this guy. They've proven, it could be Jimmy Haslam, they've proven to have a quick trigger. Now, a lot of the conversation comes, okay, what happens with Andrew Berry, right? What happens with Kevin Stefanski? All that being said, I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders won't be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I'm talking about, will Shedeur Sanders be a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, right? I said for the remainder of this year, he deserves to be that. But there's a real possibility that Cleveland says, you know what, we're going to go out and grab a different quarterback, change the whole entire quarterback room, whether it be drafting Mendoza or maybe they bring back Deshaun Watson. Well, in that likelihood, the team may come calling and say, hey, Cleveland, we'll give you X amount for Shedeur Sanders, and then Shedeur will compete for a starting quarterback job somewhere else. There are some places I could see that happening, right? It could be the Jets. It could be the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers, depending on what happens with Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot that goes into this whole process. Hell, it could be the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, where I stand with this is, and like I said, I agree with you that he has more to prove, but I look at, and what you just laid out, I think was right. But 30 years, this team has won one playoff game. 30 years, this team has been a joke. 30 years, this team has gone from putting name after name after name after name on that jersey. At some point, that shit has to change. And I think in the NFL, you've seen Baker Mayfield go off and have success. You've seen other quarterbacks go off and have success. You can't be the donkey of the day for another season. You can't. And that's where this would be a failed opportunity for the Browns to let this go. If I'm in their shoes, I am letting Shedeur play out the rest of the season. And let's see how he does. But I would rather fall on my sword and say this guy has the momentum. This guy has the wave. This guy has the confidence. This guy is selling the jerseys. This guy is putting asses in seats, something that this team hasn't done. This team has been known for the plastic bag on their head saying, fire so-and-so, tank for so-and-so. At some point, that shit has to change. And in my opinion, what he's put out on the field, he's shown me promise to where I can look around the NFL. I can look at Cam Ward. I can look at New Orleans Saints quarterback Tyler Shuck. I can look at New York Giants quarterback Jackson Dart and say, those guys are getting leeway. Those guys are rallying up the fan base. Jackson Dart is a perfect example. Look at New York media. Everybody, the fan base are excited. They have hope because this guy has shown glimpses. Has he shown to be great? No, but he's shown glimpses. And he's giving the fan base hope. And at some point, that means something, especially in the first and second season. And I think that's where I ride with Shedeur right now. Like I said, if you get a top 3 pick and Fernando Mendoza is on the board, I don't think you think twice. But are we really going to say if the Browns have the 8th overall pick, you're going to reach on a quarterback just because? No, I think Shedeur has earned it through 3 games. And let's see how he plays out the rest of the season. But when you have lightning in a bottle, which maybe I'm overstating his value, but I think that that's what he is right now. I think he has the potential and the moxie and the confidence to be that franchise quarterback. And he's shown in the Raiders game and the Titans game, he can throw the damn rock. So let's see him develop. But I think it would be a premature decision. And I think it would be a major mistake if they go out this offseason and if it's for a Justin Fields in free agency or if it's for another mediocre quarterback in free agency and trade away Shedeur, I think that's a mistake. But we'll see where the chips fall.
Let's get Tim thoughts in here.
I think that's the longest I've ever went without talking.
Glory be to God.
We're on red. Keep it short and sweet. That Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco bullshit, that's exactly what it was this entire offseason. I don't know what the plan was drafting 2 quarterbacks. I don't know what the plan was to have Shedeur throwing to to equipment managers. I don't know what it was to have Joe here, even at the beginning of the year. Joe's a very solid bridge quarterback. I think Joe's playing for the love of the game, and I get that, but he wasn't loving the game in Cleveland. Point blank period, Shedeur outplayed Cam Ward yesterday. What matters is a win. But if we're going to be completely honest, Shedeur's defense decided to give up 31 points when they haven't done that in the last, I want to say, 6 weeks. That just so happens to happen yesterday to the fucking Titans. If what I got from Shedeur yesterday was the ability to show that he could sustain some drives. He was always labeled as accurate. He was kind of knocked for not being as agile or, you know, as capable of moving in the pocket as you would think he would with the genes he had coming from his dad, but he's not his fucking dad. And I want that to be the point that I'm making, is that the man was never supposed to be drafted in the 5th round. I don't give a fuck what you say. I hate when I'm debating with people because it's usually supposed to be a debate. But when you debate, please use common sense, for the love of God. If Shedeur was talked about as a top 3, top 12 pick all of the offseason and during the season of college football last year, I don't understand. And I haven't seen anything credible come out about why he dropped all the way to the 5th round. There's still people who talk and say, oh, his interviews were terrible. His arrogance, his demeanor. If he produces, I don't give a fuck. To be quite frank with you, there's guys who give you presidential type of speeches at the podium and are complete ass. You gotta take you gotta accept something. And you know what? He's gonna grow up. He's still a young kid. But by the time he gets to 25, 26, I think he'll be in a headspace where he's like, you know, I'm just used to this. And at the end of the day, now I'm going to be focused more on winning. I think he's just more so he's worried about keeping his foot in the door. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who have doubted him. And yesterday, there's going to be, let me say this shit. I hear, oh, it was against the Raiders. Oh, it was against the Titans. It's the fucking Browns. Are we forgetting we got 1.5 wide receivers over there?
Both of those things could be true, though. Huh? Both of those things could be true, though.
Yeah. It's the fucking Browns. It's the Titans. Yeah. It's the Raiders. Yeah. Okay, cool. It's a rookie quarterback.
I agree.
So you're going against people. And by the way, those two defenses aren't the worst in the league. No. You want to know who the worst in the league are?
We already talked about it.
Alrighty then. So at the end of the day, he's not doing it against the worst defenses in the league. I will give credit where credit is due. And I will say this. Dillon Gabriel did go against for the first half against the Ravens. He did go against a Vikings defense early in the year who was a lot healthier than they are now. He had some he had some games where he played some tough defenses. I will say that. But the man, if I'm correct, he had a game where he threw the ball over 50 times and he didn't crack 300 yards. Mm-hmm. Shedeur just got the opportunity to throw it 43 times.
Something like that.
Yeah, 43 times and cracked 360 plus yards. There's only 2 quarterbacks in the rookie season to throw over 350 yards with 3 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. That's Shedeur Sanders and Joe King Burrow. Joe Cool. There's only 2 quarterbacks to do that. So if you want to take any type of a heap of confidence from a game, it would be this game. It would be, I could see him being my starter for the rest of this year. I will say this. I do agree a little bit. As much as I hate to say that shit, I kind of agree with you, Lee.
Well, we're practicing.
I need to see, you know, we can coexist in this fucking world. I'll say I do need to see more consistency with sustaining drives. The drifting back, yes,
taking 8 sacks, having 8 sacks.
The drifting back, and I think those are things that you can grow out of. Sometimes you just have to say, throw the fucking ball away.
But one thing I want to say, that's bad mechanics. Let's talk about that. That's bad mechanics, because if there was one thing that plagued him in college was he held onto the ball way too long. That's what everyone said. So you would think that, which tells me is need to be less perfect timing in the offseason, right? It needs to be more working with an actual quarterback.
No,
Tim. What I'm saying is realistic. Hold on, 𝗫𝗀, put the camera on me. Listen, at the end of the day, that is something that most quarterbacks do, right? Andy Dalton, when he was here in Cincinnati, he worked with a quarterback coach in the offseason on how to get rid of the football, knowing when a play is dead, knowing when to escape the pocket, and throwing the ball away. You do not need to hold on to the ball and take a sack.
I completely agree.
Hold on, I'm not finished. There are going to be some times where you need to take a sack. There are going to be some times where you need to throw it away. 8 sacks in 3 games as a starter is not winnable football. Even when you watch the preseason game, when you take 20-step dropbacks, right? And you're holding on to the football, right? You make the offensive line seem worse than what they are. And that's why you get guys like 𝗦𝗡𝗢𝗓 and all those guys kind of getting annoyed, because it's like, dude, escape the pocket. You're not slow. You're not a tortoise. You have some mobility. There are some things you can do to help the offensive line as well, but also not put the team in a lot of 3rd and long or 2nd and long situations.
I disagree. Do you disagree? I disagree. I disagree like a motherfucker.
I disagree. Listen,
I'm all right with that. We always disagree.
Listen, I disagree with that. And the only reason is that is his biggest flaw. I agree. But 8 sacks in 3 games is not a lot. Dak Prescott just took 5 sacks on national television. Patrick Mahomes has taken more sacks in his past 3 games. Josh Allen, the same thing, just took 3 sacks against the Cincinnati Bengals. So while I agree with
you, just compared him to the most elite, 2 of the most elite quarterbacks.
No, wait, hold on.
That's what you just did. That's what you just did.
Hold on. Get his ass, Dan.
Hold on. That's what you just did.
I agree. And the reason why I'm comparing him to the elite quarterbacks is to bring up the point. I don't think the 8 sacks in 3 games is worth it, because on average, NFL quarterbacks are taking about 3.1, 3.2, somebody can fact check me, sacks per game. That is less, or that is more than what Shedeur's taken. He's taken 8 in 3 games, which averages about to 2.7. I don't think that he's shown through 3 games that he has been terrible at that. I agree that's his biggest flaw, and I agree that could plague him. But I've seen other quarterbacks in the NFL in the past 3 weeks take more sacks than Shedeur.
So I just want to clarify something.
Yeah.
What did I say was incorrect? We agreed that he takes sacks. All I said is in the offseason, that's something he should work on. And then you guys both said you disagreed when I said in the offseason he should work on his mechanics. Right?
I don't think
that's a perfectly,
but we can say that about any quarterback.
Sure.
So
and I do.
Okay. So but
I'm saying if he wants to take the next step, the one flaw is the one flaw that I'm saying he should work on in the offseason.
But that flaw, in my opinion, right now, that does not take me, and maybe this isn't what you're saying, that flaw is not a big enough flaw for me to say that this guy shouldn't be a starter.
No, I didn't say that. I just said in the offseason. Hold on. Let me finish my statement.
Okay.
That's literally what I just said.
Okay.
I said in the offseason, he should work with a quarterback coach on his mechanics.
Yeah.
I didn't say Shedeur Sanders didn't deserve to be a starting quarterback.
Okay, I didn't know where you fell with
Shedeur
Sanders.
Sanders. I'm really confused where that argument, where that was taken. And it's like, I know we have a pro Shedeur crowd over here.
Yeah.
I am not a pro either. I'm a pro realist. I'm just saying, I think that's something he should work on. I think Joe Burrow should work on throwing the football away.
Okay,
does that make everyone feel better? For me, I don't think my stance in what I say was that.
Don't give us a good time. Did it make you feel better? No, it doesn't. The way I look at it is that it sounded. This is just me. It sounded
interpretation
like you were yes, and you know what? This is why you hear people out. I get it. It sounded like you were saying he has this problem and all of his sacks are because of this. It's not that. No, not at all. So I just want to make that clear. My bad. I didn't mean to attack your ass, but now I get it. My bad, Lee. Go ahead and do your thing, but I appreciate it.
Listen, somebody said P. Crawley said, Malik, does Shedeur deserve to be the Browns starting quarterback in 2026? P, that's something that we have to wait for the remainder of the season to see. I don't think anybody should be handed the starting quarterback job in Cleveland just yet, unless they show you performances just blowing you away. I think he deserves to be in the mix potentially. If he continues to have strong performances like he did yesterday, all things considered, I still consider yesterday a build upon performance. I still believe it's a strong performance. I think that he's allowing himself to be included in the mix of a quarterback battle. No matter what, we're facing another quarterback battle in Cleveland, even if Deshaun Watson is back at quarterback. And the only way we're not seeing that is if the Cleveland Browns say, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to trade for an elite quarterback, right? Which is not happening, right? They've done that already. So to me, I think we are still in wait and see mode. I don't think anybody should have these grandstands on Shedeur Sanders, whether he's quote unquote bad or whether he's quote unquote great. We're not there yet. I think there's still a sample size that these next 4 games should show us. But I also think to 𝗬𝗬𝗪𝗏𝗪, I think 𝗬𝗬𝗪𝗏𝗪 needs to put him in spots to where he's going to be able to accentuate his talent and show us what he's about.
Real quick, before we move on, Kevin can get the fuck on. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Kevin is at the point where yesterday we didn't really speak on it, but it's the same thing that Zac Taylor has kind of done, which is you move away from the hot hand. Shedeur was on fire yesterday. And let me say this, with only 3 weeks of starting, and I'm talking about reps, I'm talking about being the guy where you walk into the huddle and know it's on me this week. With only 3 weeks of that, Shedeur was able to muster up a game better than really any Browns quarterback over, I want to say, the last 2-3 years. You sit here and you're throwing for over 360 with 4 total touchdowns. That showed a lot to me. But for Kevin Stefanski to take the ball out of his hands after leading a game-winning drive potentially, to then turn around and take the ball out of his hands at the goal line when he has produced at the goal line earlier in the game, he's been able to put the ball in the end zone, put the ball in tight windows. That shit was malpractice. This whole, I think, to answer the question that was asked, should Shedeur be the starting quarterback for 2026? I'm going to say yes. Why? I'm going to say yes, there should be some type of competition brought into the room in the offseason. But I will say also as well, give Shedeur the same opportunity you gave Dylan. Give Shedeur the same opportunity you gave Joe. Give him an offseason to have reps. And once you see something, you know something. I'm going to pull the trigger when I've seen this a bunch of times and it looks familiar. And I know I can make that. Right now, Shedeur's playing with house money, but you know, you don't want to lose too much. So at the end of the day, yes, I would. Going into this offseason, I don't know what the hell you're gonna do with Deshaun. Could you trade him? Is there anybody who would want to take him? Money. But then again, that price tag is insane.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring him back and then what? Just be a mentor to Shedeur? I don't think Deshaun's in that type of business to sit there and want to try to, be a mentor to somebody when he knows that he can still play to some degree or he feels like he can. I don't know if he's really capable of it, or you bring in another quarterback and you basically have the same situation you had from last year.
And just to close this up, I think that there really is 2 sides of this. And when you look at the NFL, this dates back to, let's talk about late round quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, even look at Tom Brady. You get one shot. And I don't think that there's 1 or 2 ways. I think that there's really 2 paths you can go. You either go the path of Shedeur is the guy, or you go the path elsewhere and you trade Shedeur. And I think that that's how this is probably going to play out, because we've seen in the past, Shedeur probably got drafted later because Deion Sanders said, hey, Baltimore Ravens were about to take him. He said no. There is a real confidence and there's a real, need for this guy to get playing time. And I think if the Browns head into next offseason with a quarterback battle, I think we're going to see this get ugly. So I think that there's 1 or 2 ways this goes. Either he's their guy or he gets the hell out. So we'll see.
So as we keep the conversation rolling, we want to thank you guys for tuning in again. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content. Hey, did the Colts set the franchise back in light of the Daniel Jones Achilles injury? Did the Colts set their franchise back? Just to take a trip down memory lane, the Colts gave up a 2026 first, a 2027 first round pick, Adonai Mitchell, for the acquisition of cornerback 𝗪𝗪 Gardner. Daniel Jones is now out for the season with an Achilles injury, and they don't have a capable quarterback right now on their roster to keep their season afloat. But did the Colts mortgage their future? Did the Colts sabotage their future in light of the Daniel Jones injury? Tim, what are your thoughts?
No.
Okay.
I think what they did was wanted to capitalize on the momentum that they had. And who's to say that the season is over? It's not. They have a lot of talent.
keep going.
I was speaking high. Look, bro, I'm not a person just to give up. But
we know.
how the division is setting up, do they have opportunity? Yes. I think the Texans will eventually just go ahead and run away with it. But no, I think you have Daniel Jones, who already had the threat. You set the team back by playing Daniel Jones in these games. You did. The fractured fibula on the left leg, it made the right leg compensate for taking as much weight as you could off of the left leg. And that's why yesterday I think that Achilles injury happened, and I hope it's a speedy recovery for Daniel. At the end of the day, the Colts did what they felt was best for the moment and really for the future, I guess you could say, because they felt like they found their franchise quarterback, which was like the most concerning thing that they had on their plate, honestly. Their defense has been stout to some degree. Sauce being out, thank God it's not a torn Achilles. It's only a calf strain, so he'll be back. So, and Sauce has played well since he's been there.
Yeah.
He went to London with them and got a dub right away. So, out the gate, he brought instant production.
Tim, you sound like a politician right now.
I know, bro.
We talking about
positives in this shit.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes in life, you can just talk about the realness of it. The realness is that Riley Leonard is their starting quarterback. Anthony Richardson, the guy they drafted in the first round, is on IR.
This shit is chalk.
Okay,
I get it. This shit's chalk.
IR.
It's over.
That's what he's at.
Riley, I get it. You got some type of veteran experience as far as, playing a lot of college football. Cool. All that shit, great. But, bro, you about to come up and play some dogs in a couple of weeks. And to be honest with you should be looking forward to. What the fuck is Anthony Richardson?
IR.
It's bad.
What is wrong with
He's got I think it was the eye, or it was something bad.
Something with his eye, yeah.
They said he hasn't even shown his face or anything. Like they say it's pretty bad.
Okay,
I think the next time we see Anthony Richardson, it won't be in a Colts uniform either.
Okay, so or possibly in the NFL at this point, depending on how serious this shit.
Yeah.
Now y'all laughed at that. That was crazy. How serious the eye situation is. So you wasted the first round pick there. You're gonna have to sign to save face. I think that you have found your guy in Daniel Jones. Y'all won't be doing shit this year. You'll be in Cancun this year, but over the next 2 years, Daniel Jones is only 28 years old. You sign him for another 2 years. Those two first round picks that you lost for the next 2 years, you're just gonna have to use Daniel Jones as a bridge quarterback and see what he can do over the next 2 years. I love what I saw this year. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor isn't going anywhere. Alec Pierce has played incredibly well. Michael Pittman became the receiver that you thought he would.
Alec Pierce is gone.
Alec, yeah. He's gonna make a lot of money this offseason.
He's already.
You think they're letting Alec out the door?
He's gonna make a lot of money. You can't pay both him, in my opinion. I don't think you can pay him the bag with Michael Pittman Jr., with Tyler Warren, with Josh Downs. He's about to make 20.
Josh Downs get the fuck on.
But he's gonna make 20 to 25, probably, if not more. So I mean, they could re-sign him. Of course,
there's some ways that you can restructure it to keep the look.
He gonna get the bag, though.
Yeah, and that's completely fine. And I'm not gonna lie to you. At this point in time, with how shit's going on, wasting a first round pick, y'all don't have the opportunity to sit here and say, you know what, we can build around next year's draft pick. No, you have to find lightning in a bottle right now and try to keep it. That's keeping the talent around Daniel Jones as much as possible. And we saw what he was capable of doing. So would I say that they wasted, future endeavors and possible outcomes because they gave up 2 first round picks? No, people give up shit every day. You just got to figure out how to break even or come back with it. So, fuck it. Yellow, we ball.
It's the luck of the draw. And bro, like this team, they have one chance. And in my opinion, the only chance looking now is Riley Leonard. Like the harsh reality of the NFL, are you going to go give Daniel Jones $30 million a year? Probably not. And that's the
probably
shit. Why not?
With the torn Achilles?
Probably. They probably would.
But
if you're the organization, if I'm sitting there, am I going to give Daniel Jones a 30?
What is the alternative?
Who else you got?
Am I heading into next year with Daniel Jones not starting my team? I don't think so.
Is he? Who says he's not starting? The Achilles is a 6 month recovery.
And that's where I don't think he's going to get this massive bag. I think no other team would really want to pay him 30. I think he's probably going to play on a 1 to 2 year deal next year.
Bro, he's averaged 200 yards and almost 2 touchdowns in every game.
Of course, but he's coming in with the torn Achilles. If you're the New York Jets, are you going out there paying him $35 a year?
I think the Jets would pay my grandma right now. Like, bro,
so
you be for real.
What I'm trying to say is, I think that this team, you gave up 2 first-round picks.
Okay.
That sucks. I think your only realistic option right now, you got to try to play for the playoffs, of course. And I think Riley Leonard, he's got to try to show some. If not, I mean, you got to run it back with Daniel Jones. But it's looking very tough for the Colts. And I agree. Maybe he comes back next year and is healthy right away. But I'm heading to next season. I don't know if he's solely my guy. I don't know.
Maybe you go after Kirk Cousins. Maybe you do something like that, right? You know,
I mean, as a bridge until Daniel's healthy.
Yeah, maybe you do something like that.
So you got 2 bridge quarterbacks essentially.
Well, because they don't view Daniel Jones
as a bridge, though. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they don't. So like for me, my thought process is it's a very interesting spot they put themselves in. But I think where me and Tim are coming from, Daniel.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Me and Tim are agreeing, and we're disagreeing with you. But I think we're in a spot in which they kind of seen what Daniel Jones can do when healthy for them, and he provided so much hope. It gave them one of their best Colts season, like at least starts of the season
in a long time.
I think that you kind of have to go back with him, even if it's a year deal, which I don't think it will be. I think they'll look at what he's shown and be like, hey, Daniel, we'll commit 2 years to you. Because guess what? 2 years will give us 2 first-round draft picks that we gave him.
And this year, honestly, I think was the first year where there was a new addition at quarterback where I was like, you know what? The city of Indianapolis was energized since Phillip Rivers. And at this point now, you really need to, honestly, you're talking about bringing in guys, quarterbacks and all of that. I think you need to invest just a tad bit more money. I know it's going to sound shitty, but you need to you need to invest a little bit more into Anthony Richardson and see what the hell is wrong with him. Honestly, bro, that's a first round pick.
But
it's raps. It's raps from
because hear me out. Once they did what they did, man. Like let's be real. You know this too, Tim.
Yeah, brought him in. Yeah.
Once you bring in another quarterback and you do all that and you bench him and you basically make him feel like he's forgotten about, and it really wasn't even a quarterback battle, really, to be honest, between those two. It's pretty much you even gave the dude the captain.
I think it's also the conversation that you have with him in this offseason, though. Look, Daniel's out. I'm gonna be real with you. Look, this is Anthony walking into my office. And go ahead, take a seat, bro. Yeah. So there's an opportunity. There's a light at the end of the tunnel for you. Daniel's out. So you're gonna have the first 3-4 weeks of the month of next year to try to do something. If you can get healthy, if you can sit here and have a full offseason with 1 opportunities, this is your second chance at possibly earning an opportunity somewhere else. Put your best tape on the field. I'm not understanding, especially after losing the first round pick, why there was such a quick just takeoff from wanting to see if Anthony Richardson could be the guy. I get it. I get exactly what you're saying, because me personally, I ain't taking that shit. You bring somebody else in to take my job after you spent this type of draft capital on me just to turn around and move on. Send me somewhere else. But that's not the case with him. Like you said, there's an issue going on greater than.
Remember, they were taking calls for him at the trade deadline too.
Well,
you ain't do shit with it. Got something
because it's the injury, that whole eye thing happened.
What I'll say, and I agree with you on the Richardson front, bro. Like, if I'm the Colts, if I'm sitting in your chair, what you were just saying, why the hell do you want him to start? Go out and get somebody else. Riley Leonard. Hell, I think Riley Leonard, let's see how he performs at the end of the season. I think he's a better option than Anthony Richardson. It's wraps for Richardson. It's done. It's whether it's the confidence, the injuries, he's had his chances.
In Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis, yeah. It's over. It's not going to work there. He's got to get out the door. You got to trade him. It ain't working. You're not heading into next year.
Clearly.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of quarterbacks that and this is something we haven't talked about. There are a lot. Weirdly enough, there's a lot of quarterbacks that jobs are up for question. There's Kyler Murray.
I was just about to say Kyler.
There's @𝗏𝗏 Penix Jr. I don't know if he's 100% going to be the going away starter with Atlanta next year. Then you've got obviously the Colts situation. You got you hear rumblings about the Vikings stuff. You don't know how valid those are. There's a lot of quarterbacks that could potentially, or a lot of openings at the quarterback spot for team, unusual openings, I would say.
And I'm not going to lie to you. There's a couple of young guys on certain teams who show some type of promise, and you could possibly bring in to see if they've learned enough behind veteran quarterbacks over the last 2 years. And I'll say, starting off, what does Joe Milton have? What's the price tag for him?
Yeah.
I think Joe Milton, after sitting behind Dak and taking the valuable reps that he did in New England, I think Joe Milton could be a guy where you could say, you know what, that could be a sleeper for somebody to take a flyer on and see what he could do. Now, if the asking price is too high, get the fuck on. Also, I think somebody who showed promise during the preseason was I'm gonna murder his name so bad. My dad does this shit all the time. DJ 𝗦𝗐𝗕𝗦𝗐𝗕𝗦𝗐𝗕. Oh fuck!
Talking about the Clemson buddy.
Yeah,
Clemson. He's trash.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Getting NFL coaching and having your chance to bump your head for an off season or two
could change it for sure.
Could change. I've seen it happen where guys, you know, there's guys who could. I'm not saying going to be just blown full out starters, but could be bridge guys. Guys where it's like, you know what, you could show me some type of production. It's not going to cost me a whole lot because I don't have a fucking lot to give. And talking about Indianapolis, I can see what's going on here. Now, I do like the Kyler Murray idea. I think him in Arizona are kind of like Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. I think they've come to their passage where it's like there's too much shit that goes on. You want to keep playing your video games and shit. We not in the business of playing games. Let's just move on and let you have a different set of scenery as well. So, yeah, there's ideas, but have they been set back? I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so we see it a little bit weirdly. I mean, I definitely think
we all have different outlooks.
Yeah, I think that they definitely went all in, and you never can fault a team for going all in. It just didn't work out this season for them. And we'll see how the rest of the year pans out. They're sitting at what, 8-5?
8-5.
What
maybe Riley Leonard takes them on a run.
And they have 2 division games up next, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Wow. If you guys do us ever get this video, like, subscribe to the channel. Only 34 likes on the video. We greatly appreciate if you guys could just like it up. We do appreciate y'all tuning into the morning show. Oh yeah, I want to talk about Notre Dame missing the playoffs. Notre Dame did not make the playoffs after rattling off. I believe it was
Trey Lance.
That's
who it was.
But was it 10 wins straight?
11
wins. No, it was 10.
10
it was 10 wins, 10 straight wins, I believe it was for Notre Dame. Notre Dame misses the college football playoffs. And you can correct me on that too if I'm incorrect, but I'm pretty sure they're 10-2.
It's Trey.
But yeah, they missed the college football playoffs, and then they've decided to forego any bowl games. It's just not something that they're interested in, and he's caused a huge uproar. It was 10-2, correct?
Yep.
You know?
Yes.
It's caused a huge uproar. I'll be honest with you guys. I'll say this as an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. I am shocked that we made it. I'm shocked that we made it. I would have personally liked to see a team like Notre Dame in there over an Alabama Crimson Tide team, especially a team that looked as porous as they did just the other day. I'm talking about getting shellacked, getting blown out, the doors blown off of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like Alabama has had too many of those type of blurbs this season, right? To where you can justify it. Where you look at Notre Dame's losses were against quality opponents earlier in the season. They started off 0-2, caused a lot of people a lot of uproar. I say that because I want people to know my take is not coming from a homer standpoint. If I could, honestly speaking, if I could swap Alabama and Notre Dame out of the college football playoffs, I would do that.
I get it.
I'm still trying to figure out why Notre Dame missed it over James Madison. Great season by James Madison.
But
James Madison, like, and it's James Madison versus Oregon.
Do they go get rolled?
Like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm genuinely asking for a second. What are we doing here? I can understand Tulane versus Ole Miss, even though Tulane over Notre Dame is interesting to me. And listen,
these are teams I'm never picking when I pick up the sticks. Like
to me, it's just like, what are we like?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like what actually is our thought process, man? But that's why I started with my team in Alabama, because I wanted people to know how strongly I feel about the Notre Dame Irish being in the college football playoffs. I believe they deserve to be in there over Alabama. And to me, I think for anyone that's giving them flack for foregoing bowl eligibility, I don't blame them. You don't value us, obviously, college football committee, playoff committee. You don't value us. You're pretty much saying we need to join a conference. So why the hell would I join a bowl game? But listen, this has been Notre Dame forever. Notre Dame has not been associated with any. Listen, we've seen Notre Dame was just a team that was in the college football championship last year. Lost their defensive coordinator last year. Lost a bunch of starters last year, and still found a way to rattle off 10 victories. And yet, and still, you put James Madison in the playoffs. And let me ask you a question. Does anybody believe James Madison has a shot against Oregon? I mean, a realistic shot against
put their
Oregon.
pads on the same way that Oregon
Okay,
does,
come on now.
dog.
Come on now. There's a reason why. Hear me out. And just for Tim's point, what he made, there's a reason why when those certain jobs come open, coaches of James Madison, the James Madison University, and they get offered a Power 5 coaching job, they leave to go coach that said team. Why? Because it's better recruiting, right? More money, better facilities, better. That's why they do that. And I'm just we're being honest.
Yeah,
we're being honest with ourselves.
And I don't necessarily disagree with you, but also you kind of look at it like this. You could look at it from another light. The schools like Oregon and those said schools that you were just talking about, they go and look at the coaches of these type of teams because of the success and stability that they have. These teams are here because they have a plan. They have a certain way of doing things. And James Madison, I'm not gonna lie, James Madison has been a powerhouse where they were at for a long time. So for them to come up here and find their way to where they're at is impressive as hell.
Yeah.
Now, do I think y'all go and play Oregon and lose by 10? No. But I could be wrong, because one thing that I do know is heart takes you a long way. Now, a payroll also does as well. And when you paying that type of money for those type of players, you expect them to show up and show out. So I get that. What I'll say about Notre Dame is this. You taking losses, the committee told them, y'all better get your ass in a conference.
Yep.
And if you want to cry about the shit, go win a conference championship and be solidified as you should. But and they're not. And I get that. Losing to Miami by 3, that's tough. Losing to Texas A&M by 1, that's even tougher. You can make the case both of those teams, with Texas A&M being where they're at, only for us to lose by 1 against them was y'all have to look at that as us being more than just competitive against playoff teams. Then to turn around, you blew the doors off of Pitt 37-15. You won it was a nail biter for most of the game. I did watch this, the game against USC, winning 34-24. So the ranked games that you had that on your schedule, you either lost or you won, but not by to where it's just convincing. And I think that's what the committee was basically the ultimatum they gave to Notre Dame. Either you blow everybody the fuck out who matters, or not matters, but win convincingly against who matters. But the games that you're supposed to win handily, blow them out. Like against Syracuse, they won 70-7. I think they knew that this was coming, so they started just putting up points drastically to try to make a case for themselves.
But can I just bring this up to you, Tim? Listen to this. I'm sorry, and I want your James Madison. Right?
Yeah,
Louisville. Well, they lost to Louisville, right?
Yeah, Louisville was tough at the beginning.
Yeah. They lost to Louisville.
Yeah,
they beat Weber State.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And by the way, they lost to Louisville by 2 touchdowns.
I only know Weber.
They beat Liberty 31-13. They beat Georgia Southern. They beat Georgia State by a touchdown. They beat Louisiana. They beat Old Dominion. They beat Texas State. They beat Marshall. They beat App State 58-10. They beat Washington State. They beat Coastal Carolina. The reason why I'm pointing these out, they beat Troy. And now you play Oregon. Listen, I appreciate the committee saying, James Madison, you're a part of a conference and you have earned the right to be. But you couldn't put him in a very prestigious bowl game. You had to put him in the college football playoffs.
Look, I give congrats to JMU, but I will say this real quick because I'm gonna let you rock out. I'm gonna say this though. I forget who they specifically beat, but you know who I blame for this shit? UCF. I blame UCF. This was a couple of years ago when they had they had knocked Joe Burrow's dick in the dirt, and it was a whole viral moment. Yeah. That team that said they won a national championship or they were champions. Ever since then, there has always been the kind of narrative or story that the little dog should always have a chance to fight. And since then, this has kind of been the theme. I'm not really understanding why I didn't look at JMU's like leak. You reading that shit off just now? Weber State?
Yeah.
And I just got
Dame,
to send the text. JMU was the 5th highest ranked team that won a conference championship. That's something to note. It earned them an automatic. Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck that they. Come on now. That's a trash schedule. And all the you faced Louisville. You lost by 2 touchdowns. Like, what are we talking about?
This shit, and this is very clear to me. This is politics.
Hell
What
yeah.
division is Weber State? I'm sorry.
No
I'm stuck
clue.
on that shit.
No
I'm
clue.
sorry.
Garbage. This is politics. And I want to look at what Marcus Freeman said this offseason. He foreshadowed this. He said, listen, Notre Dame's independence is what this program was built on. But if there ever comes a time where we are at a disadvantage because we aren't in a conference, I'm sure he'll make the right decision and say, hey, all right, we're going to join one of these conferences because the committee negatively impacted us being independent. This is the committee saying, hey, we are bigger than you. We don't care about you. Everything that we laid out, none of that shit mattered because look, respectfully, because after the first 2 games that they played, they were undefeated, and the 2 teams that they lost to were great teams. So think about it. It sucks for Notre Dame because what do they have to do?
They were just in the college football playoffs last year. How do you leave them out?
Yes.
Like for James Madison.
And like you said, I think even the bigger point is Alabama. Like, okay, I agree. James Madison no way should have been. Even Tulane, right? Tulane has had a great season. I understand. But Notre Dame's a better football team. The past 10 weeks, they've been better. And even the Alabama.
I'm going to be honest. Texas should have been in this shit too. Texas has, look, we just got done blowing the doors off of Texas A&M. And I'm going to be honest with you. There's actually about 3-4 more teams that should be sitting here saying, I know, like looking at the committee and dead in the eyes saying, I know you lying. I know you. Look, I appreciate JMU and I appreciate Tulane, but this not that.
I'm looking at their schedule. So Tulane beat Northwestern 23-3, but Northwestern isn't good this year. They beat South Alabama by 2 points. They beat Duke 34-27. They lost to Ole Miss 45.
Duke was a quality win.
They lost to Ole Miss 45-10. They beat Tulsa 31-14. They beat East Carolina. They beat Army. They beat UTSA. They beat Memphis. They beat Florida Atlantic. They beat Temple. They beat Charlotte. They beat North Texas, and they have a college football playoff bid.
And don't they play Ole Miss?
I think so, yeah. Yep.
And you said that score was
45-10.
Nah, bro. I mean, look.
See what had happened was
what had happened. We saw them the first time. We saw how they move. Now the second time coming out, we got a different game plan.
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Yeah.
This not that. I
also feel bad for the. I feel bad for the. I feel bad for the fan base too. The people are going to spend hard-earned money, travel, be so excited. Oh, JMU, oh, Tulane, we're going to do just to get the ass clapped. I'm just like, yo, this is absurd. This is like you playing. This is like playing Big Brother in Madden.
Bruh.
This is like Daniel playing me in Madden. Like this is what this is like. This is not. I don't know. For me,
not even close.
I would have just liked to see them in a very prestigious bowl game, and they're like, "Hey, here's a bowl bid for you fighting hard and having a." This is absurd to me. This is crazy to me.
What is it called? Is it called the NIT?
NIL?
No.
What?
No. Like for college basketball, you got March Madness and you got that other.
Yeah.
I feel like Tulane and you feel me? Those teams, y'all can go play over here. Don't come over here with real shit going on.
Yeah.
Because now y'all look, you about to have them kids exposed to a lot of shit. They about to see a lot of stuff that Tulane already saw.
Yeah.
So now they buckling their chin straps up a little bit more. But JMU, I get it. Y'all had a good season. And I ain't trying to have y'all just sit here and just Where the Kansas?
But the college football playoffs supposed to be competitive, man. Like this is what it's about.
Yeah,
Like, Notre Dame
being a
puts a better.
Nah,
Like even with Lane Kiffin gone, right? Lane Kiffin not
this
there.
shit is chalk.
It's chalk, and that's what everybody's probably gonna think. They're gonna, oh, Lane Kiffin's not the coach anymore. We got a chance, and then they're gonna probably win the game instead of winning by 45-10. Maybe they win by.
I was about to say, let's
20?
call it right now. How much does
God
does Ole Miss win by?
20.
Ole Miss wins by 20.
20. Yeah, I don't think it's
Okay.
competitive. I
How
think
much does Oregon win by?
Oh my God, Oregon probably not letting up score.
They don't get nothing.
Maybe 3.
What you got? So we can come back to the show next time and be like, look.
Oh man, I think Ole Miss. I think 20-28 is a good score, and I'd probably say Oregon probably beats them by 35 at least.
Well, you think Tulane and Ole Miss a good score?
You said 20-28.
No. I meant they win by 20-28.
Bro, this is like showing up to a Berkeley to get jumped in the gang. I'm got it. You got it. I'm good. Like I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I'm good. Like that's what it is for me. Like, what are we doing?
This is when you schedule games, Oregon versus JMU. That shit that you pay for, you pay JMU to come play you. Not in the college football playoff.
You want to hear the worst part about this? You just know Ole Miss is going to try to make a statement because Lane Kiffin left and that offensive coordinator's there. You know he going to call plays. He's going to – wait, no, but listen, he's really going to go out there and probably – they're going to try to run the score up to prove a point just to make a statement. And then everybody get hyped up and then the following week they're like, oh,
and Tulane got to pay for that.
Yeah.
Tulane, you just so happen to be the victim. Like, you about to get bent over.
Man,
bro,
this is crazy.
This is bad, bro.
This is bad.
And Notre Dame about to sit at home and be like, word. So what you're telling me is I have to get into a conference now. What y'all told me essentially was we don't give a fuck. You know what
somebody said? They said you can have the biggest house. Somebody's put in the comment section. Chris Crypt Keeper 4532 says you can have the biggest, nicest house in the neighborhood, but the HOA doesn't care. Pay your dues. Notre Dame join a conference. Is what he says. Man, that's
bro,
real.
I'm trying to tell you, they looked that man in the face and said, you're either gonna have to get on with the program or y'all just gonna be a program.
Yeah.
Like I understand y'all have been built off of independence, but at the end of the day, we believe that JMU and Tulane
and that just
have earned it through their conference and hard work and dedication.
Absolutely not. But
that shit's crazy.
Reginald Johnson says Irish should have went ahead and should have went ahead of Bama. Yep, I already said that. I agree. Yeah. We're gonna stop this Bama's talk now. All right, we go. I agree. Listen,
Bama could win though, and I think they will. I mean, they lost to Oklahoma, I think, and it's hard to beat a team twice. So. It's hard to beat a team twice.
Who are you talking about?
Alabama, Oklahoma.
You think Bama
lost?
I think
Bama lost.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Wait, Alabama lost to Florida State at the beginning of the year.
Oklahoma, I'm pretty sure.
You might be right. Hold on.
They just had a close encounter with Auburn, if I'm correct.
Yeah, they could have lost the Auburn game.
No, they didn't.
They lost to Oklahoma.
Yeah, they did 23-21.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
And I hear you, I do. But if that defense plays how I think they will, just as Bama gets to see them twice, Oklahoma got to see them twice.
That's fair, but Oklahoma. But yeah, I mean we'll save this. But I think also coming off that loss to Georgia, I think that helps the perception because Oklahoma's defense ain't Georgia's defense as well. Oklahoma's defense is phenomenal. I think Georgia's got a better defense, and I think this is I'd probably take Bama in this game, but we'll see.
I think they did this as a nod because Kalen DeBoer, if they would have missed the second straight year in a 12-team format, he probably would have been.
Yeah, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. Kalen, I don't even think he likes being the head coach at Alabama right now. You know what came with that pressure?
Yeah.
Off rip, the same thing. Head coach at Old State.
You know what somebody said? They said LSU don't get comfortable. Is it because when that Alabama job come open, Lane gone. Lane is gone. And to be honest with you, that's probably what's gonna happen. He'll probably just jump to go to Bama because all roads lead to Bama. Like if you got an opportunity to coach Bama, man, you know what I mean? Like that's but
I will say this though, before we get off this topic. Mark Free. I fuck with you heavy. I can't even say your full name right now.
Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, Marcus. I appreciate you, man. I don't know if I ever get to see you later on, however this goes. What I will say is this, and I don't want you to take disrespect to it. I don't want Notre Dame fans to take disrespect to it, but it kind of is a whole move to not play your bowl game. You're taking.
No, it's not.
You're taking the opportunity for seniors to play one final game because not all of them are going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Some are going to be putting fries in the bag, and it just is what it is. Selling car insurance, doing whatever what they're going to do later in their lives. One final game to put on the pads and enjoy it with your brothers. You cross your arms and say, because you didn't get in the playoff, which I get. I understand why you're pissed. Yeah. Honestly, you looking like, bro, it's Tulane and JMU, and we're not in there. Okay, cool. Just go blow the doors off of whoever it is that you're going to play in the bowl game. Just blow the doors off of them, and damn near at the end when they have a presser, drop a hot mic, point of view, and then get the fuck off. Mm-hmm. That's the way that I would handle it, but I'm not Notre Dame or anybody of importance, so I get it. But it really is about the kids, honestly, at the end of the day, because some of them are never going to get this opportunity again to play on a stage in front of people and in front of their family. Who knows? This might have been the first game that a family member ever gets to catch of their baby or their cousin or significant other. This is tough. So why take that from them? I don't know, but you are making a statement. But the committee low-key don't give a fuck. The committee said what they said. They standing on business, and they cool with it. At the end of the day, Notre Dame gonna have to make a change, not the committee. Do you think this changes after this year though? After they get rolled? Yeah.
They aren't they even looking into expanding it even more to college football playoffs?
Yeah. Isn't it 16?
I don't know. It's kind of absurd.
Yeah, I think
it's getting a little crazy. It's getting a little crazy for me. But
that's hella teams, right? That's so much football though. Now that you're putting on those kids, and they talking about the seniors now going into next year, they got to play another 18 games.
Yep.
Oh, you gonna have to up the pay. if I'm some of them kids, you're gonna have to cut me off a little bit more cheese.
Oh my gosh. Last thing I want to get into before we head out of here, guys, is Chris Paul's dismissal from the Clippers, and I'll make this very, very brief. Do you guys think he gets signed to another team? Daniel?
Yeah. I think he'll find his way onto one more team. I think that it depends on what team, but there's always injuries in the NBA, and I think he'll latch on to some sort of contender. It's fair to say that there's concern because he was out there basically trying to coach the team when he wasn't a coach, and the Clippers coaches said no, but I just find that a little BS, and I think that that's not the entire league. So I don't know what team, whether it's the Houston Rockets or some of these other teams.
So Los Angeles Lakers finally?
I mean, if they deal with an injury, maybe. But I think that a contender, if they deal with some sort of injury, I think that Chris Paul's leadership and I think his presence, I think it's valuable enough for him to be better on a roster for $2 million than to be sitting his ass at home. So.
What about San Antonio? He go back? Why not? I mean, what would they really lose from that? There's a bunch of young guys over there.
Is Wemby hurt right now?
Wemby's hurt, but he's coming back soon. I think he was questionable today, but he'll
play tomorrow.
And one thing that I did see was in the limited minutes that he did get in San Antonio was chemistry. One thing that he's able to do, as is Bron, as is a lot of other players. Well, not a lot, I'll say, but those few guys, the great ones, are able to adapt. They've always been able, because they've been in so many scenarios. They've been in so many situations where it's been, I've had different roles and different points in my career, so I can understand from all perspectives, and that's how I can help younger guys. I like LA as well, but do you want to take the ball out of the hands of? Would you like to see Luka move around more without the ball? Would you like to see AR move around more without the ball?
I got a team for you.
Who?
I like to see him join the Nuggets, be the backup point guard for the Nuggets.
Should take over what Russ was doing.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I think you then allow the non-Jokic minutes to still have a facilitator on the floor. You're not forcing Jamal Murray to play so much, and Jamal Murray, we know he gets banged up and stuff like that. Right now, you're not running your offense through Bruce Brown when he's on the floor. To me, it just makes a lot of sense. I think I like Christian Brown, but he's not a point guard. I think that Chris Paul makes a lot of sense for the Denver Nuggets, and would he want to go to Denver, or would he want to go to one of these marquee teams? I just think I just think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. But listen, we want to thank you all so much for tuning into the morning show. We appreciate y'all for making us a part of your regular routine. It's good to be back with y'all. It really is. And again, I want to thank my guys so much for holding down the fort and just being so supportive.
Love you, dude.
And my family during this time. Again, I'm excited to be back. Yeah, man, this is I can't believe the season's already coming down to an end almost. But we're gonna try to enjoy the rest of this rest of the remaining weeks we have here doing the show on the morning show, and we appreciate y'all for sticking with us for the entire season. We'll be back live again for the morning show on Thursday. We'll be live for State of the Jungle on Wednesday at 7 p.m. You guys can do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content, and hug your loved ones as well. Hug your loved ones, hug your loved ones, hug your loved ones. Remember, there's only one way you should be waking up, talking sports, having conversation, enjoying your cup of coffee, and debating, and that is the right way. We'll see you guys on Wednesday for State of the Jungle.
This is 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗏𝗏